They ask, what draws me out here? To the middle of nowhere. But hunters know, you're in the middle of everything. A world of opportunity and adventure.
At number 1, and this is probably the best news you're gonna hear today here, the THQ Nordic Sea came our way once again only a few hours ago and actually revealed a new trailer on Way of the Hunter. That it's gonna be released August 16th this year for PCs, Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 only. Just in case you're unfamiliar with the Way of Hunter, this game is pretty much like the 2017 Call of the Wild and technically a realistic open world hunting sim. Check it out.
But you can never underestimate nature's will to survive. Sometimes, that's the way it goes, and that's the challenge. Every hunter knows there's always another chance. Because no two hunts are ever the same. So prepare, persist, trust your raw instincts. And when it all comes together, the perfect spot, the perfect stalk, the perfect shot. There's nothing quite like it. That's the way of the wild.
Where are you taking me? I asked you a question. Everyone says Reyes is a good shot.
Yeah, and he'll put arrows through both of us. You're switching with me.
It's a snap maw. We're not gonna make it!
Coming up behind that, we have Guerrilla Games and Firesprite from earlier this year announcing Horizon Call of the Mountain as a first major exclusive title for the new PlayStation Virtual Reality 2. How this game actually works in terms of gameplay or technically what it's all about in the trailer, Call of the Mountain doesn't have a release date however, but it's coming to the PlayStation 5 exclusively. Check it out.
Attacking. Do that, and you shall be a free man. It will take all your wits, your skills, and courage. You have walked in the shadows, Reyes. Now it is time to climb into them.
At number 3, we have Tencent Games that no more than only a few days ago actually came out and announced a totally brand new IP called Code to Jin Yong. Well, what is described to be an open-world martial arts game built using Unreal Engine 5 and as a game set in ancient China in terms of premise. Here's a 2-minute long trailer that came out with not really sure when the game's supposed to be released however, but we know it's only coming to PCs and this is how it actually looks like. Alright, moving on, we have publishers Raw Fury and the fine folks at Lunar Software that actually did come out and re-reveal Routine. Well, for those of you unfamiliar, a first-person science fiction horror game that was announced more than a decade ago. It's technically a horror game set on an abandoned lunar base designed around an 80s vision of the future. Well, check it out. Currently, this game has no release date or window, only rumored to be released by the end of 2023. Here.
I've been on quite the adventure, little brother.
I reckon it's got something to do with that girl.
At number 5, technically just a quick reminder for those of you who missed out on the announcement, we have Last of Us Part 1 Remake. On its way right now to the PlayStation 5 and PCs eventually, they say, September 2nd this year. You might go and ask why? Well, the answer is, this game is actually being built from the ground up as a complete remake, as announced by Naughty Dog, with haptic feedback, adaptive triggers, and 3D audio. Pretty much what a Last of Us Part 2 would look like if it was released just now. Take a look.
Once upon a time, I had somebody that I cared about. And in this world, that's good for one thing. Get you killed.
I can take care of myself.
How many close calls have we had?
I get into trouble down there. You make every shot count.
I got this.
Hope you know how to use that thing.
I've had some practice.
Coming up behind that, and this is perhaps one of the biggest news you're about to hear if you haven't yet. Starfield came our way once again from the Bethesda showcase earlier this year and with around 10 more minutes of gameplay. The game's now releasing next year into PCs and Xbox Series X only, and it is, just to get a better picture, literally the biggest video game in terms of scale that was ever made. Take a
We'll be
look.
part of solving that puzzle now.
So, you found something?
A new guy found it.
You dug up the artifact, right? That means you saw it. The visions?
The artifact you found appears to be one of many, scattered across the galaxy. If we can find more, we can unlock their secrets.
Beautiful, isn't it? The man who sold me this told me that it spoke to him.
Of course, the settled systems is full of groups with other priorities.
That's the Crimson Fleet!
Everybody get ready!
The fleet doesn't follow the rules. Agree to work for UCC staff. Together, we take down these cutthroat pirates.
We're not just here to shoot the bad guys. We're peacekeepers. We protect the people of the Free Star Collective. When you sign up with the Crimson Fleet, no one quits. The only way out?
I've actually mentioned this one a few days ago, but just in case you missed it, well, see, it's not very often a video gets this much attention, so we had to kind of mention this one here. Black Myth Wukong, which is an open-world Souls action RPG that first came our way precisely 2 years ago, technically one of the biggest game projects in the making, is now on its way to the PC's next generation of consoles and due out mid to late next year. Here's the thing, to accompany the release window, the fine folks at the company just came out with this.
whatever you've done, I won't give up a child. Come with me.
Run, Hugo, straight on! Take your hands off me!
Guys, for those of you who have actually been waiting, Focus Entertainment and Asobo Studios announced earlier A Plague Tale: Requiem will finally launch October 18th this year. This time around taking place 6 months after the events of the original game and pretty much like the first one as a stealth adventure game with a lot of puzzles. I also want to know the combat actually plays a much more important role in the new entry. Here's how the game actually looks like. Requiem is on its way to the PCs, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X only.
In there? It's dark.
I don't know if there's another way.
Where are they?
Let's push inside. We must not stay in the open.
A あなたはこの世界に来て7日間ずっと眠っていたの。ここはクアッドラトゥム。
Not too long ago, Square Enix then also came out and announced that Kingdom Hearts 4 is now pretty much being developed in a full scale. The game is on its way to the PCs and consoles in both generations, and finally, the fine folks at the company debuted a gameplay trailer for what will looks to be so far the most realistic looking Kingdom Hearts game to date. Unfortunately, however, no additional details on the game were given. However, apparently this game's being built using Unreal Engine 5. Take a look.
Take a look outside. Did you know that they call Callisto the Dead Moon? Dead. Just like you would have been if I hadn't fished you out of that wreck.
Alright, the Callisto Protocol is now set to launch December this year. Well, in case you didn't know, ahead of the Dead Space remake due next year, and it is now actually coming to pretty much every single platform too. See, Krafton and Skybound, developers of the game, to make a lot of hype, they'd actually come around with a couple of gameplay trailers earlier this year, but as I mentioned, to make a lot of hype, they even went the extra mile and released another gameplay showcasing just a few days ago. Check it out. This is actual real-time gameplay, just in case you missed it.
I just love that last part. Gives me chills every time.
When you arrive at Hogwarts, you will be sorted into one of the 4 Hogwarts houses: Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, or Slytherin. After you settle into your dormitory, you will meet up with your housemates in the common room.
Alright, at number 10, well, Avalanche Software about almost a month ago, and after an entire year of absence, officially went on and revealed Hogwarts Legacy's in-game footage. Said, and as you can see, this is a single-player experience only with co-op modes, and also indeed an open-world adventure set in the same universe, or technically the schools in the movies. Check it out, this game's launching around holidays this year and into every single console and PCs, Switch included.
Art of charm work, but I am confident that we will take hold with the passion and rigor requisite of such a challenge.
The best way to practice is by dueling. We'll start with you two.
Time for a proper Hogwarts welcome.
You may begin.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is O, H to the OV. I used to move snowflakes by the OC.
Moving on, we have the next mainline game in the Forza franchise, as it was revealed, simply Forza Motorsport. This game's a Microsoft exclusive too, as always, in which, this time around, players will be introduced to a day and nighttime selection option. It is going to be using overhauled physics, photorealistic graphics, and basically an all-new Forza Motorsport in about every department. Check it out, the game's supposedly releasing early next year.
Get ready. Yeah, you can do this. First the iron, then fire. Yes. Yes. No! Yes!
At number 12, and technically, once again, we have Sinuous Saga Hellblade 2, literally the biggest game in development by Ninja Theory right now, currently in development for Xbox Series X and PCs only, and rumored to be coming out early to mid next year. To be perfectly honest, that's pretty much all there is to it. There's also a couple of trailers for Hellblade 2 from earlier this year. In case you didn't catch up, I highly recommend taking a look if you haven't already. Here.
Take me! Come on! Chase me!
You're just gonna leave me here in what, space?
Everybody lives in space, including you. All right, you're a bounty hunter now. You gotta help me rescue my friends. They're Gatlians, just like me.
Guys, at number 13, and this actually came out as such a surprise from only a few days ago, we have something going on here called High on Life. Well, a brand new title from Justin Roiland, well, technically one of the creators of the Rick and Morty show, and as an IPO touted to be an offbeat, a bounty hunting science fiction shooting game at its core. High on Life is said to be coming out October 25 this year, and to accompany the good news, the fine folks at the company also came out with this. Take a look.
Knife me! Stab! Stab! Yes! More! More! I need more stabbing!
Everyone, fight each other!
Moving on, we have the one and only Layers of Fears, though, which is a brand new entry by the same developers behind games like Baldur's Gate 3, and as you could probably tell, technically building upon the foundations of Layers of Fear games by Blooper Team earlier. Layers of Fears, however, we know is releasing early next year for PCs and as a next generation of console game only. It is, in case you missed it, a first-person psychedelic storytelling horror game.
No other way.
Shouldn't have. You really shouldn't have.
An empty shell cannot live forever. It cannot live at all.
Alright guys, look. Technically, if you're actually into Japanese horror games and dinosaurs at the same time, well, what we have here, Lost Wild, which is a first-person survival horror game revolving around dinosaurs, pretty much what a new game in the series of old Dino Crisis games would look like today, I would say might be something right up your alley. Lost Wild actually came our way first 5 years ago and now set to be coming to PCs only early to mid next year. Check it out.
Heroes fought and died to give us a chance to start over. All that I know from their Earth are the creatures they sent along with us.
Coming up behind that, we have Ark 2, well, technically the sequel to the 2017 survival game Ark Survival Evolved that just went 100% free to play about a week ago on Steam. Ark 2, however, as opposed to the first game, will now be a third-person Souls-like action RPG. Pretty different to the original Ark, obviously, and said to be released next year as a Microsoft exclusive. Moving on, it is The Axis Unseen from earlier, just this past December. Probably one of the most visually advanced reveals of the year too, and what we came to learn soon after to be an open-world horror hunting game, pretty similar to Sons of the Forest, but also Skyrim and then Hellblade. Now here's the trailer. This game is coming to PCs only, and a release date for it is still yet to be announced. Witchfire, on the other hand, well, technically one of the most awaited games for the past couple of years in the making, is, as you can see, a dark fantasy first-person shooter from the same folks who previously worked on games like Painkiller and Bulletstorm. The game was actually announced around 5 years ago. We now know it is releasing early to mid next year, according to developers, as soon as it is possible. Check it out, this game's on its way to PCs only.
Sarah? Ryan? This is Kathy. Can you hear me?
And last but not least, it is Deliver Us Mars, on its way to the consoles and PCs September 27 this year. Naturally, for developers to make even more hype, we're getting more trailers too. Here's a new one. This gives a science fiction single-playing adventure, and pretty much also the sequel to Deliver Us the Moon from 4 years ago. Check it out in case you missed it.
That when we get there, you'll make the right decisions. We can do this. What do you expect to find on Mars?